In this lesson, we will be working with lists in Dart. So what are lists exactly? So lists are the collection of data, meaning that if I want to create a single fruit, I will create a string fruit equals to apple, alright? But if I want multiple fruit, say a basket of fruits, then I will be creating a list. So this is how you create a list in Dart. So you start by typing list, which is a data type, and then the angle brackets. And inside of this angle bracket, you want to define the data type of the collection. Say if you want this list to be a collection of string, then you can type string over here. If you want it to be a collection of number, you can type double, num or integer over here, alright? But for now, we are creating a list of fruits, so string it is. So now you need to define the list name. As you are trying to create a list of fruits, my list name will be fruits. So it is a list of fruits, alright? And the value of this list is always enclosed by these big brackets. And inside of this, you can have the collection of the data type that you have defined. In our case, is string, alright? So apple, orange, banana, and so on. So this is the list or the collection of fruits. So inside of this list, we can only include the strings because it is a list of strings, right? If I change this to an integer, I'll be getting an error, and this is because a string can be assigned to an integer, alright? So for this, I need to change my values to integer. But if you keep the collection data type as dynamic, then you can include anything in your list. You can include number, string, booleans, and so on, alright? So now that we have a basic idea of what lists are, I want to show you something. So without even understanding the concept of list, we are already using the list in our billionaire app. So if you look into this column widget, it has an argument called children, and if you hover at it, you can see that children is actually a list of widgets. And as this list only expects a widget as a children, we cannot provide anything but widget inside of it. So we have text widget, size box, and so on, right? And here you can see that the children value is enclosed by this big braces. So whenever you see big braces in Flutter, it means it is a list, alright? And there can be multiple data inside of it. So without even understanding the concept, we are using list in our Flutter project. So now that we have a basic understanding of list, let's explore what else can be done with the list. So now let's create a list that is relevant with our to-do app. So let's remove this and list. And as the to-do list is a collection of strings, so data type will be the string, and then the variable name will be to-do list, and it will be enclosed by big brackets, and inside of it we will have the list of to-do items, alright? Now there are different things that you can do with a list, for instance looping the list, getting the length, and so on. So let's create an entry point, so void main, and let's keep this list inside of this main function, alright? And now if I print this to-do list.length, then I'll be getting the count of the items that are inside of this list. In my case, there are 3 items, so I'll be getting the result 3, alright? Now if I add another string to it, I'll be getting the result 4. So there is one important thing that you need to understand while working with list is the indexes of the list. Indexes define where a particular data is situated in a list, alright? So this bath is of index 0, this brush teeth is of index 1, it is of 2, and this is of 3. These indexes define where the data are situated inside of the list, alright? And the index always start with an 0. You need to keep that in mind, alright? So if I want to get this brush teeth data, which is of index 1, then I need to type list name and then the big brackets, and inside of it the index. So if I want to get the brush teeth, I'll be keeping 1 over here and run this, and I'll be getting the data in the first index. By using the indexes in list, I can also modify the data. Say for example, if I want to change the data of the first index, then I can change it like so. So now if I run this, then the second index data has been changed to monkey, alright? Now if I print this whole list instead of this only one item, then I get this modified result. Let me remove this. And if I run this, then you can see that the first index data has been changed to monkey. So this is how you set and get data from the list. So now let's clear this up so we have a nice list to work with. So now let's explore what else can be done. So if you want to add a new element into this list, then you can use the add functionality of the list. So if I want to add a new item over here, I can write to-do list.add, and I can simply add an item to the list, alright? And I can use this add multiple times for adding multiple items into the list. So if I want to add another component, then I can use to-do list.add and provide another item. But there is a better way for inserting or adding multiple items to the list. Instead of writing in this way, you can simply use the add all functionality and pass the list to be added inside of a list. So if you replace this with add all, then this will expect a list inside of it. This can have multiple components or multiple elements inside of it, and if you provide these multiple elements, this list will get attached with the to-do list. So add for the single component and add all for the multiple components. Alright. Now if I want to add an element in my list in any specific index, then I can use this insert functionality. For instance, to-do list.insert, and if I want this value to be at the first index or the 0 index, then I'll be providing the index number and then the items to be written in that index. And in this way I can add some items at a particular index. Now there are different other things that you can do with the list. Now if you want the first element, then you can write to-do list.first, and this will provide you with the element of the first index. In our case it is read books because we have modified this list. So we got this read book. If you want the last element, then you can write last, and it will provide the last index element. If you want to check whether this list is empty or not, then you can use this to-do list.isEmpty. Then this will provide the response in a boolean, meaning true or false, and you can see whether list is empty or not. Alright. And now if you want to reverse this list, then you can use this dot reversed in our list. So by doing this dot reverse, we will get the result in a reversed order. Alright. Not only adding and inserting, we can also remove the elements from our list. So let's remove this reversed and make it an original list. So for removing the element, we can use the remove functionality and pass the value that needs to be removed from the list. So if I want to remove this brush teeth, I need to provide this value over in my remove function, and this data will be removed from our list. Alright. So this dot remove will expect the value that needs to be removed, but you can also use indexes for removing the value. For using the index, you need to use the functionality of remove at, and then you can provide the index that needs to be removed. So remove at 0 will remove this bath from our list. Alright. So if I run this code, then this bath will be removed from the list. Alright. So this is how we use lists in Dart. Alright. So we learned about how list is created, how we can use the list, how we can get the data from the list, remove the data, insert data, and so on. So whatever we learned about list up to this point are the basic stuffs. There is obviously more to learn. So the main goal of this lesson was to make you understand what lists are and how to use them in a basic manner. So there are other different things that you can do with the list, but due to time restriction, I will not be able to provide all of them. So when time comes, you will be learning that eventually. Alright. So that's it for this lesson, and in the next lesson we will be using this list in our to-do app. So I'll see you at the next lesson.